Welcome to Your Untamed Life, the podcast bringing you stories of transformation, growth, fear, success, alignment, challenges, and more, with the intention to inspire you and light you up to find your own aligned path of transformation and let it unfold in front of you without letting fear hold you back. I'm Amanda Petra, your host and passionate human being. Without further ado, let's get started. Hello, gorgeous souls, and welcome to today's episode. I really wanted to share something a little bit different, but still within the confines of what we are about here, which is about transformation and growth and, just like opening your mindset. So I had an event to go to last Friday, or 2 Fridays from now. By the time this comes out, it'll be more Fridays from now. But it was an event that changed a lot of my perceptions that I wanted to share, like what I learned, a few things that I learned. But also getting to the event and being at the event, I had two kind of massive realizations, which are within like my actual transformation journey that I wanted to share, which I thought was interesting. And I want to share this with you because I believe that it will make a huge impact in the way that you see your current reality, and the way that you view your business. You may see it as, I need one single business to be my provider, my rock. And it doesn't matter if I like it or not, as long as I'm good at it. And I wanted to change that perception a little bit because you don't have to be a master of one to reach levels of success. Because I was really struggling with this. And this was really holding me back when I was trying to scale my business or to really go all in with my business, because I was like, it has to be just one thing. But I'm super into so many things, and there's so many ways that I can help people. And I was like really conflicted by this way of thinking. Anyway, so there's a few things. So 3 things I learned is you don't have to be a master of one. I learned about something called Empire Mindset. So this was an entrepreneur summit. This is what ties into the whole name of this episode. So we learned about Empire Mindset, which I wanted to just touch on because it kind of like took me from entrepreneurial ways of looking at things and just scaled it to a huge level. And I was like, wow, that blew my world open. And it's just a few simple things that maybe will drop in for you. And then also, third thing is, investing in yourself is a massive key to success, whatever success looks like for you. And it's also like a safer bet in a way. I'll go through that in a minute. So these are the realizations of a multi-millionaire that was at the event, or it is his event, and Sansoni, and then there are other presenters as well. So I think all of this was fascinating, and I think he's fascinating, and I wasn't expecting anything from this event. I went there completely blank slated, like, well, I'm just going to go. Don't know what it's about, but it's an entrepreneur event, so I probably belong there. I'm so glad I went. But before I went to that event, I had my own kind of, it was a massive drop in, and it was like the world, the universe showing me the way. So what happened was, I really didn't want to go. I didn't want to get up early. I had to go at like 6 a.m. to get there. And I was like, I don't even know what's at this event. I don't want to go. But then I was like, nah, feels like I should go. So I got up and I was planning to ride my motorcycle there. And, sort of like ride in a bunch of gear and then get there and strip off and make it look like I didn't just ride there in a motorcycle with helmet, hair. And I like literally wore Kevlar leggings and made those look like business pants with what my outfit when I got there. So that was interesting. But so I was riding to the event, and then what happens? My phone falls out of the phone holder on my motorcycle. So obviously there's like it's like a sport bike. There's no blocking of the wind. So the wind never would have done this before, but today I decided to. It was like the best phone holder ever, but it's just, I don't know, honestly, challenging me. This is my realization of what this day was. But anyway, so my phone fell out of my phone holder, like hit me in the stomach, and then flew off because I was on the highway. I was on the freeway. I was on Quinana Freeway, and we were going quite fast, really fast actually. And then, so I was like, shit. So I didn't realize for a minute, and I was like, oh, that was my phone. So I didn't know where I was going for the event. The map on the phone was the only way that I knew I was getting there. I'm not from here, so I was like, I'll just trust it. For some reason, I never even looked at like where the end point was. I just, left mindlessly. So I was like, wow, I can't even get to this event. Cool. Pulled over on the left side of the highway, where my phone probably fell off on the right side because I was in the right lane. And I instantly went into panic mode, and I was like, I can't get there. I don't have a ticket. I can't get there. I can't do it. I can't do any of this. Why am I like this? Like, I can't do anything without my phone. There's so many I can'ts that came up. I was like, I can't find it. I'm going to have to do a UE, like go back on the other side of the highway and go home and go on Messenger and tell people I don't have my phone. And then maybe my partner will help me find it later. And I was like, what am I talking about? I can't. Like, what are you saying? You can do it. I was like, this is all the shit that you've been like building up to, learning. And the couple weeks before this happened, or actually a couple months before this happened, like I really found like an aligned place with my business. And, finding that aligned place started to obviously, challenge me. It was like really, really flowy and really, really easy. And then I was like, okay, that's a bit weird. This is all really easy. Like aligned clients are coming to me. I was like, oh, okay. And you start to question it. And you start to be like, oh, okay, this is a bit scary. And I feel like I hit like the tipping point on this day with this whole challenge, right? I was like, everything's been not that it's been too good, but I was like, from what I've heard and what I have experienced, you kind of go through like a growth, and then the universe challenges you to hold that vibration of that growth. And I was like, wow, I've never like been slapped in the face with a day or like an incident so much that is challenging my growth. So I'm on this day and I'm like, that's what it is. This is a fucking challenge. This is the universe challenging me. I don't know why. It just dropped in. I was like, okay, fuck this. I put my hair up in a bun. Because I was like on the left side of the highway. I was like, all right, I got to go to the other side of the road. Put my hair up in a bun. And I was like, so glad it's not fucking raining. I was like, all right, we're going on the other side. Everyone tells you not to do this on a highway. I'm going to have to do it though. I'm going to go find my phone and I'm going to do this on my own. So I went across and I went over like the wire fence because I was like, that's probably not going to help, but it probably will help a little bit if a car goes off or whatever. But yeah, I'm on the other side and I probably walked like a kilometer of road because I dropped my phone and then, I was going really fast. So about like a kilometer of road was like where I ended up stopping. So I'm looking through all the bushes. The bushes are all covered in spider webs and there's so much garbage on the side of the highway. It was just fucked. But anyway, I'm looking and I was like, I'm going to give up. And I was like, no, literally started to like yell to myself, no, the universe is challenging you. Like, universe, I got this. I'm doing this. I'm finding my phone. And I was like, it's probably going to be broken. And I was like, no, I'm finding this. My phone will be fine. And I was just adamant about it. And so I'm there on the side of the road talking to myself, looking like a psycho with like backpack and helmet. Like people were like, what is this person doing? Anyway, and yeah, so after a long while of looking, I was like, all right, I'm going to be late to this event, whatever. And then I found my freaking phone and it was fine. My phone should not have been fine. My phone is like curved. It has like curved edges. It should have died from the crash, and it didn't. I was like, wow, no fucking way. Old me would have never, ever continued to look for this goddamn phone. Like, wow. I was really shocked. I was really proud of myself. And I like even saw my partner photo. I was like, guess what happened? You'll never guess. And he's like, did you crash? I was like, oh, sorry. That's the wrong photo to send. I'm good. This is what happened. How insane is that? And I found it and it was cool. So I was like, all right, now I can get to the event. Went to the event. I was all fucking like jazzed because I was like, holy shit, what just happened to me? And I couldn't believe that I still had the exact amount of time to make it to the event. And I was like, you cannot be shitting me. Like, this is insane. Made it. It was all cool. And even got a chance to change and not look like a huge bum. And barely changed. But anyway, I got to the event and then went in the event and had an amazing freaking time. And in there I had more realizations. And why I wanted to share that story was potentially maybe it will help you identify when the universe is challenging you, I hope. I hope you're not stuck on the side of the highway. And if you are stuck on the side of the highway, I hope it doesn't rain on you. But it just felt so powerful. And I don't know if you can feel it, but I felt like it was really powerful. It was a powerful, like, internal moment for me. And I just felt like something I needed to share. So that happened. And then, so going into the event, hearing from Aaron Sansoni, right? He is on Forbes magazine and Success magazine on the cover and stuff. And one of the first things he shared with it, that's probably not the first thing, but one of the biggest things that I wanted to say, because I feel like entrepreneurs would, just need to hear this. And it just makes so much sense. Or like, okay, so you know how your family and friends don't understand like what you're doing? Why don't you just go get a regular job? Why don't you just, quit? Like, it's clearly not working, or, I don't understand how you would do that. And like, how do you live not knowing like when your next paycheck will come in or whatever? Anyway, Aaron is on Forbes magazine, Success magazine. These are just examples. I'm saying success comes in different ways, whatever. But these are like really big, blatant, obvious things, right? Multi-millionaire. And his family still to this day asks him, when are you going to get a real job? And I was like, wow, I needed to hear that. Because when your family doesn't understand, just think of that. Just think of that. And just don't even get into the discussion of what you're trying to do. Because you have a vision and they don't have that vision, and that's okay. So that was one thing he shared. And he also shared, where are my notes? He shared something about the lines of, he didn't want to do one thing, just one thing, and be happy like everyone said that you should just do, even in running a business. And he's like, I decided to build an empire. And when you say that, you become the black sheep instantly. And even me just saying that, I feel like I'm becoming the black sheep, just putting this out here. But it's true, right? It's the same as I want to start a business. I'm going to start a business. You become a black sheep because no one understands. And that's okay. That is okay. But it's just something I wanted to address in here. We are the people that blindly step into the darkness, not knowing that there's floor there, that there's ground there to step onto. Right? So, like, we are the people that can see something that doesn't exist and we can make it exist. Really cool, right? Like, it's just beautiful. I'm just trying to think of like, Elon Musk, the biggest example. He didn't have any proof that he could make a company, with electric vehicles that are as good as they are. But the bigger example, he didn't know that he had no example, no precedence that he could make a company where people go to the moon, or, like that he could launch an actual rocket with a private company, etc., etc. So he took a blind leap of faith into the darkness. And that's what entrepreneurs every day do, no matter what size project you do, no matter what size business you have. It's huge. It's massive. People, even if you're just improving on a product that's there, you still see something differently. So that's a huge thing to remember, that you have this freaking cool power. It's a superpower. So, what else did I want to share from you? So he shares a lot of this for free. So I just wanted to share what I learned from it. Things like, he worked with Richard Branson. He was on stage with him and he just realized he's a human, and he just worked out how to build an empire, how to be a person that owns a freaking island, and just figured it out as a human being. Like, there's nothing different about people that do these things. They're obviously different types of education. They learn different things. They learn differently. They have different people exposing them to different ways of thinking around them. That's how they become a person that can think so far outside the box, even without a precedence there, an example there. So I thought that was really cool. And yes, it's just really powerful. So you don't have to be the master of one. I want to tie it back to that because I struggled with that, like I was saying. really kind of puts you in a box that you have to do just one thing, where like, Richard Branson, for a big example as well, has multiple kind of income streams and multiple businesses. That's what makes an empire. So this word, I think, is really quite triggering. So I'm just going to keep saying it. So an empire is multiple businesses with multiple income streams, which you can build in any way, right? So it's not like you have to start every single company. If you had to start 24 companies to have an empire, like, fuck that. Starting a company is super hard. But then there's the other option that I was, this opened my mind too. So you can also buy companies, obviously. And you can buy companies with your own money, or you can do it without having money. That I don't know yet. I'm working on learning that. But really cool, right? And then there's obviously, you can buy equity in companies. And that's how you can be like, I own 24 companies. I have 24 streams of income, and that's my empire, right? So there's just a different way of looking at having a business. That can be your business, having an empire, basically. And obviously this isn't for everyone. You can be a master of one and be a freaking badass and just, do that and be really good at it. There's no problem there. It's just do what you love. And if you feel like me, which having just one business is just like unsettling to you for some reason, maybe this is why. Because I just felt really unsettled for a long time, trying to be like, okay, I have one thing, I have to focus on that one thing. I got really bored focusing on one thing. I would rather, watch, I don't know. I can do like 7 things at once. It's not even at once. I'm switching from one thing to the next, and I enjoy that so much, and I'm so much more productive that way. And everyone says there's no multitasking. It's not really multitasking. It's just, I don't know. I get really into things one at a time after each other. But it just depends on your way of thinking, your capacity. Like, for example, like there are people in my life too, they just like to focus on one thing, and that's all they can focus on, and that's all they're happy focusing on. Like, I'll try to have a conversation about the 10 things I'm interested in, and it's just too much for them. And so we'll just talk about 1 or 2 things, and then that's it. Or, yeah, I feel like that's it. And that's all right. And everyone's different, and everyone has their own place in the world because of that. And that's what I love to see. So that's one thing. And then what are we talking about? Empire mindset. So I just love it. So I've hopefully you've seen a lot of the growth mindset that we talk about in a lot of the other episodes. So everyone's kind of got a growth mindset. And I was like, that's a really good thing. And that's it. And then I was introduced to this empire mindset. Okay, you can call it anything else. I feel like I'm going to call it limitless mindset. Because it's like a pyramid that was described, and it's smart. So, at the bottom there's fixed mindset, which is everything makes you shitty, everything makes you angry, everything annoys you. Okay, so basically you're kind of in victim mode. You're like, I can't do more than this. I can't get ahead. That thing was so inconvenient that happened to me, that person that walked in front of me. Everything is just so inconvenient. You're so caught up in that. You can't really handle it. You're just kind of like annoyed by everything. And that's pretty much it. That's fixed mindset, I would say. You don't really want to get out of the situation that you're in either. You're not open to getting out of the situation that you're in. You're not open to new things coming your way. I feel like that's why it's called fixed. So growth mindset is you handle life as it comes, and you deal really well with it. You kind of just flowing with it. You're open to it, and you're like, okay, it's come at me. I can deal with this, and I'll learn something from this, and then I'll move on. So you're kind of just taking life as it goes. You're probably obviously like creating life a little bit, but you're just kind of taking it as it goes and open to it, which is awesome. But they're both kind of defensive and just kind of like, anyway. So this is why I think empire mindset is limitless mindset. In a way, thinking like a billionaire. I don't know if that's going too far. Just they seem to think anything is possible for them, right? And they've obviously built up to that. They came from, a garage building their thing, and then now everything kind of seems possible to them. Back then it probably didn't. And a limitless possibility or an limitless mindset or an empire mindset is like seeing the world as your playground, kind of seeing the world as, this is my interpretation of it, seeing the world as a game, or like life as a game. Not as like life isn't hard and life isn't, challenge, and life isn't precious and life isn't worth looking at, but just life is, society is kind of a game, right? So not like winning and being the master of it all, but just not taking it too seriously in a way, but also what is actually the definition kind of thing is not just dealing with it, kind of creating it. And so examples are things like, you're in a business and you're just kind of taking challenges as they come. But instead, if you have an empire mindset or your limitless mindset, you start to look at it from the outside. You go, look, this business is serving me for this reason, but am I enjoying it? What else could I do? How else could I grow it? Should I step out of it? Like, is this really serving me for the bigger picture that I have for myself? So being able to see your business as the vehicle to get you to what you want, to the life you want, the lifestyle you want, the type of, the life you want. Because your business can be a few things, which we all understand, but it was actually put out quite well here as well. That you can have like a business, which you kind of like work in. There's 3 stages, but I'm just going to talk about the second one. Second one is a business you work in. You're part of the process of making the money. And then there's the empire stage, or I'm going to call it limitless stage again. You've stepped out of the business and it's kind of running itself, and you are CEOing it really hard, I guess. Yeah, you're being about it. Sorry, my dog's standing. Okay. And and that's just like a completely like you're separated from the business kind of thing, but you are still an owner and you still have like says and things. So those 3 are important those 2 are important because you can look at your business with your empire mindset and see, like, is this business that I'm a part of making the profits in? Like, I'm part of it, I'm in it, I'm working in it. Is this making me happy? Is this the goal? Is this where I want to be? Or do I want to be in the next stage, which is outside of it and not working in it? So it's kind of the difference between, like, I really enjoy being a website designer and doing the web design work, or do I want to run an agency where I have web designers work for me type thing. And just, it's really, the choice is yours. You could get to the point where you are a CEO and you're running your own agency and you're doing all of that, and you could decide you freaking hate it and you want to just go back to being the web designer, which is doing the creative stuff, not the businessy stuff. So there's nothing wrong with either side of it. It's just what you prefer and what makes your life more fulfilled, more happy, more internally just fucking amazing and abundant, and just, what lights you up on the inside. Okay, so that's that. So those are kind of empire mindset thoughts that I wanted to share with you guys. And then in limitless mindset, I like to think it's limitless because I want to think big and go from there. It's obviously you're being realistic and at the same time, but you can think big and be realistic at the same time. Think big and then work with your circumstances is my new way of thinking new way of seeing things. Okay, so, and then the third thing I want to show is investing in yourself is the massive key to basically all of it, and it's a safe bet, right? So why I was convinced of that at this event, I know that investing in yourself, investing in like coaching, investing in people to help you forward is always preached to you, always told to you by people that have done things that you want to do, right? So I already am a big believer in investing in yourself, but there was like a little catalyst story that he told, and yeah, it was the catalyst to that thought like completely dropping in. So just about, there's like inflation. Okay, so there's investing in yourself versus like you could invest your money. We're going to turn into a money conversation, okay? So you could invest your money into a bank account, right? That bank account might pay you back 1%, typically, like honestly, like 2% or whatever. So then in a year, you'll have 2% more. Or you could, so he made us basically put our hands up at this event and go like, who has grown their business by 5%, 10%, 20%. So and then he's like, okay, those people have their hands up by 20%, which was really cool to be a part of. And those have grown their business by 20% in the last year. You know, even by 5% is still a bigger growth than you've invested this money into yourself and your learning and stuff, so that you had the ability to grow your business by 20% in 1 year, right? So that money that you put in a savings account could have made a bigger like percentage back by just investing it in yourself, right? So that's like the beginning of it, right? Because there's also like the real life problem of actually investing yourself or putting your money into a bank account nowadays. So there's a problem of real inflation, as he called it, which I always said too, but I never called it real inflation. But yeah, no, I did. It's, you know, there's inflation, which I don't know what it is, like 13% or something. And then there's like real inflation when you see in your real everyday life that you bought a loaf of bread for like $1 and now it's $2, right? So that's like a 50% increase or whatever. Let's say it's not. Let's say it's 25% increase in like real life inflation. So if you put $100 into the bank a year ago, and then so like back in the day, you put in the 80s, you put $100 in the bank, and then there's like typical inflation back then was going up by like tiny little increments. So then by the time a year came around, you took your money out a year later, that $100 would buy you around the same amount of stuff, $100 worth of stuff. But if you put your money in a bank now, a year later, with that, say 25% of real inflation, you will have that $100 in your bank account, but that $100 will buy you 25% less things, less food, less everything. So that was just like the extra layer to this whole argument where it's like, fuck, investing in yourself is such like so much safer, such a bigger, safer, if I could speak, a safer investment. And it just shows you like, you know, there was also like examples like Alex Hormozy, he built basically an empire. Then I think twice it got taken away from him. Twice all of his money got taken away from him. I think with like wives or I don't know. I don't know his story. I don't want to speculate. I just know that he lost it twice and he built it back. And I'm pretty sure he preaches the same thing, that if he didn't know all the things that he knew, he, first of all, couldn't have done it again, probably wouldn't have done it again if he didn't actually learn anything from it. And I didn't actually learn how to do it better. So he had all this investment into his education and his learning on how to do this stuff. And so he was able to do it twice again. And that's huge. So I really think that that's a huge, a very important thing to note along your journey of, you know, running your business. Investing in yourself is a safer bet sometimes. Or really like, yeah, it's really good to trust to be able to invest in yourself. Trust yourself, you can do this. And don't ever think that when you invest into something like a course or a person to help you or a coach or whatever, that you're not making your money back. Like you will. First of all, if you're open to receiving, manifesting wise, yes. You will make it back. But like also the amount that you've learned, you will learn something from that. If you're an entrepreneur already, you're a learning sponge. You are just absorbing it all and just being in other people's energy. Even if you get a coach and they don't teach you exactly what you thought you were going to learn, there's something in there. There's always There's always benefit. There's always something that you got out of it. There's always something that helps you like move forward. Whether it's their network maybe, or the people that you met, there's always something you find in there. I think I might have said that in a different episode, but it's really, really relevant. So I would say invest in yourself. Also, I do have a story for this. So my story for this is actually from the event. So I was at the event, and there's a part where they talk about, so to do all this, you have to decide what you actually want, and then turn those decisions into commitments, and then take massive action. This is the way they teach things, and honestly, it's just relevant. So, just makes sense, right? So, we decide what we actually want, and then we were talking about the commitments part, and they were like, who is committed? So everyone put their hand up that they're actually committed, because they're at this event, they're committed to this shit. It was cool. And I was like putting my hand up, and I was like, wow, I freaking used to never put my hand up at events. And like, this was interactive. It wasn't lame. Sometimes it's super lame, and then I just literally can't. But this is so potent. And I was like, oh my God, I never put my hand up at events. I have my hand up right now. I'm like, yeah, that was sick. It felt really good. Anyway, that was a big revelation or realization for me too. I was like, old me never would have put their hand up. That's weird. Cool. So I'm like having that realization. And then he's like, okay, so who's really committed? If you're seriously committed, run to the back of the room, first one to the back of the room, get something. And with that statement, you're like, fuck, that's dumb. Those are the first thoughts that go through your head, right? That's dumb. And then also, I'm probably not actually going to get something. And then you also think, I'm going to look like a fucking idiot. I'm not doing that. So I was like, none of those went through my head, or they didn't go through my head fast enough or whatever. I was like, I'm fucking committed. I'll fucking run to the back of the room. And as stupid as the story is, it was huge, right? I ran to the back of the room, and why it's huge, I ran to the back of the room. First of all, I'm like standing there now, and I'm like, fuck, I look like an idiot. I'm going to be an idiot. Like, this was dumb. He's going to make fun of us or whatever. But at the same time, that was not the vibe at the event. It was very, very uplifting, obviously. And I was like, it's stupid. It's going to be like they pick on us for something. Those are the thoughts that go through your head when you're just like, I'm freaking freaked out. This is like being in public speaking kind of situation. You're like, oh God, I'm shaking. Why did I do that? So why I was feeling that though was because there was only 8 of us that ran to the back of the room out of 300 people, which is insane. That is absolutely insane. I would never have been one of those 8 people, probably even last year. Maybe last year I would have. But definitely, like last year I was doing inner work. This year I am just being and doing and just out there. So maybe not. Maybe still only this year I would have done that. And I was at the back of the room, and that there was actually a prize. There was a big bottle of fancy champagne that one guy won. And I was like, fuck, if I ran faster. But anyway, that wasn't even like, I didn't even give a shit about the champagne. I was just head over heels over, just fucking joy that I did that. That I fucking was one of 8 people out of 300 people in the room. So 292 people decided that they weren't that committed, potentially. I don't want to say that. They're probably just shy. But at the same time, I was so committed. I was like, I don't give a shit about my inhibitions. I have 0 inhibitions. I'm going to do it. And that's a huge realization for me. And I just wanted to point that out because it's kind of like a really basic story that like encapsulates a lot of change and transformation within one human. So as if I reiterate, I was terrible at public speaking. I would faint. I would never put myself out there. I would never, I would never have been one of those 8 people. I don't know how else to put it. I was like completely not one of those people. But yeah, so he was pointing out that like everyone else, were just like following everyone else and letting their fears hold them back. And that's okay. Shit, it happens. It fucking happens. You have to go on your own growth journey to not be that. If you don't want to be that, if you don't care, you don't care. If you don't care about working on it, then who cares? Then you actually don't give a shit. So this doesn't even apply to you. But if you want to be a person that commits or whatever, I feel like this is a big, significant kind of topic, kind of moment. So I wanted to be a person that commits, and I wanted to be a person that can put themselves out there and that can public speak and that can be, have that strength within themselves and have that presence within themselves. And yes, that's why I'm on this podcast. So this is my presence at the moment. And so this is me committing further. But yeah, that was a really, really powerful moment for me. So let me know. I would absolutely love it if you wanted to drop into my DMs and share one of your own stories like this. That would be so, so cool. But yeah, I hope that was interesting to you. And if you did like it, I would absolutely love it if you screenshotted the episode, took a screenshot, added it to your stories on Instagram, and tagged me. I'd love to know what you think about like the empire kind of mindset or the limitless mindset that I was covering, which is now what I'm calling it, limitless mindset. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so freaking grateful to have shared this space with you today. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you joined me on Instagram. I'd love to connect in the DMs and chat all things transformation. Hear some of your stories, your journey. It would be so, so cool. It would also mean the world to me if you did just click the little follow bell on Spotify or head over to Apple Podcasts and leave a quick review. With your help, we can help more people feel the incredible depths of transformation through stories and teachings shared here. And, please remember, you can do anything you hear here too. It is not for just other people to do. You can do it too. Thank you so much, gorgeous soul. See you on the next episode.